Hello and welcome back to another video. So as of the time of you watching this, it will probably be the 25th of December, or maybe sometime in the future. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about this year in terms of the YouTube channel, and then talk about some of my plans for next year and where I want to take the channel, and just some general loose ideas, nothing really set in stone, but I just feel like this is a good opportunity to let you know what's going on. So first of all, 2014 has been a sort of insane year for me. The channel grew by I think 55,000 subscribers, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. And oddly enough, the vast majority of that in the last few months. Warlords of Draenor has had a fantastic launch, well, bar the actual few days after the launch, which obviously were plagued by server problems. But other than that, though, Warlords has had a really good launch. It seems like a lot of people are really going back and enjoying World of Warcraft, and that's certainly, I think, been very good on the YouTube front for many people, myself included. And that stuff's all been pretty awesome, and with the channel growing, I definitely want to ensure that I just, spend more time in the videos and make sure that the content's just as good as it possibly can be. Now, before I get on to the rest of the video, it's just worth saying, thank you to everyone who's decided to subscribe. It really does mean a lot. It has certainly changed a lot in terms of my life in general. I certainly feel like I've got a lot more of a sense of purpose to what I do. I wake up in the morning, I think, right, it's a new day, time to make some videos, have some fun, and yeah, just overall, it's really been nice. So thank you very much to everyone who's decided to subscribe, and hopefully the future will be fun. Now, speaking of the future, it's time to talk about my rough ideas and plans for the next while of the channel. Don't worry, nothing's breaking, nothing's going away, nothing will be turning bad, hopefully. And the first thing that I'm going to talk about is actually not going to come into effect until after May of next year, but essentially it's got to do with university. Now, generally in my course what happens is, after third year, you go and do a placement year in a company, and then you come back in fourth year, they slap a master's on you and throw you out, which is fine, but there are other things that you can do, and there's some people that I know who sort of set up a student company and were doing some, some things for their placement year. So my plan is to set up a student company, with me doing whatever, hopefully making games. But what this would allow me to do is really focus on YouTube and spend even more time doing it. One of the killers about just university in general has been, loads of projects and the sort of general lack of freedom, and that really has hampered YouTube. And I just feel that if I'm able to do that stuff all right, the shackles should be off, and I'll be able to do that. Now, if that doesn't work out with the placement stuff, then I may just even take a gap year and do YouTube full-time for a gap year. Because I feel like I've got such a wonderful opportunity here, and I really just want to be able to fully commit to it, or at least mostly commit to it, for a year and really give it its all. And that's something that does excite me quite a lot. So hopefully that could happen. I just thought it was worth mentioning now because it's, I suppose, my most broad, largest plan for next year, at least the latter half of next year. Which, come to think of it, should be a pretty good section of the year. We might even see the final patch of Warlords of Draenor, which would be pretty darn exciting. Anyway, the main upshot of this would be more content. It would probably mean me doing a lot more content on many more things, not just World of Warcraft. Maybe it would involve a second channel. In general, though, just more stuff. Maybe I'd have time to do a podcast. Yeah, it would just obviously mean I could do more content because I'll have more time, which I think generally would be a pretty nice thing. Right now, it's, I've got more ideas than I've got time to really do them. And having the time would just mean either more videos or more time spent on each video, which obviously is a good thing because higher quality. Anyway, now that big lofty topic's been covered, time to talk about some of the other ideas that I've got. And the first thing that I've been thinking of, or that I really want to do, is some sort of art asset revamp for the channel. I did a revamp back during the beta to the current style, and that I think did work out quite well. It was very well received. I basically didn't really have any negative feedback, so that was cool. But I'd like to do something again to modernize the channel. I've been looking at just some other stuff on YouTube. Specifically, I've been looking at a lot of the work that the guy who edits Paragon's raid videos does. And some of his Battlefield videos are just so well produced, and really everything he does is very well produced. And that's kind of made me just think, I think I could really up my game in terms of just making some cool little, overlays and intro and outro slates and things like that. Now, the only issue with an art revamp for the channel is that I've got no idea how to use many of the more advanced bits of software, like, say, Adobe After Effects. I'm quite proficient with Premiere Pro, but After Effects, I've got no idea. So I'll have to learn about stuff like that. Maybe there'll be some sort of small revamp, maybe there won't be, but I thought it was just worth mentioning. I do have a subscription to lynda.com, so I'll probably just use that to try to learn a little bit more about After Effects. Now, in terms of other things, the general schedule is going to be 1 video per day. I think this is a pretty nice balance, and don't worry if, if the occasion calls for it, there will be more than 1 video a day if needed. And the reason why I think 1 is a good number is that it's a manageable workflow. Back when this channel started, actually, there used to be, it was 2 to 3 videos a day, and that was sort of insane. At that point, like, YouTube ended up being like a 10-hour, sort of 11-hour workday, which was a bit weird. But of course that meant that every video got less work put into it. Generally with YouTube I spend like about 6 hours a day, maybe a little bit more on a single video. Unfortunately I wasn't really able to do that over the last month or two because university got just really insane with loads of projects and things happening. However, my general goal is to spend at least 6 hours a day in YouTube to make the videos good. Now a lot of that of course is just going to be me working on a video for the future. A lot of those videos, like say the top 10s, the discussions, and just any of those more, and lore as well, those things do take a lot of time, so I think that 1 video per day is just a nice pace at which I can make content, and if there is a video that pops up that needs a lot of work to be good, then I will have the time to put in that work. Another nice thing about 1 video a day is it doesn't overwhelm people. I used to have a bit of a problem when it was really me doing 2 videos a day, where like people would be asking a question that was answered in a video 1 or 2 days ago because it was just an unmanageable amount. So I think 1 is a pretty nice way of doing things. But as I said, if I say I do a video like a hunter guide, right, that's only relevant to hunters, I'll try to do something else that day so that there is a bit of content that's interesting to you. Now, moving on to other things in terms of video plans, I want to start doing weekly lore again. I briefly mentioned this a while ago. And now that I've got time over these holidays, I'm going to be writing videos and just trying to get that going. I don't know what day weekly lore would air on, and I don't know exactly when it will start, but it's absolutely something that I want to do. I actually used to do lore, it was more than weekly, which was, honestly, it just ended up being too much work, because when I did those, I used a whole bunch of, like, machinima software and things like that to animate my camera in-game and do all these cool little things, and doing 2 of those videos a week was just stupid. It took way too much time, so I think 1 a week and then just making that 1 video good is a nice way to do it with lore. And I may revisit topics that I've already covered because, look, most of you haven't seen those. Stuff was all back when the channel was maybe 10,000 subscribers, and honestly, those videos weren't great. I feel like I could do a better job with many of them, so I totally plan on revisiting a few topics, doing new topics, and just doing weekly lore because I think it's really fun, and I do enjoy the lore. I suppose I haven't really talked about lore much when the channel's been, when it's sort of a larger size than it was at the start of the year. But yes, weekly lore is totally a thing I want to do. Now, another thing about the channel that I want to do is WoW news. WoW Daily, or Warcraft Daily, or whatever the hell I called it back in the day, was like the main thing that this channel was ran off for quite a while, and I totally want to bring that back because a lot of people enjoyed it, and, well, now we're at the stage where news is a thing. Really, the reason why that died is because of patch 5.4. There was a year of not that much World of Warcraft news, and then when the beta started, well, doing Warcraft Daily and then having 5 bits of beta news in it just doesn't make sense. The beta deserved individual videos for all the things so I could really show off what, what Blizzard were doing to people. So WoW news will hopefully be a thing. It will not start probably for 2 weeks though, because Blizzard are away on holidays, but it's totally going to be a thing. Now, another thing which is on the plan is more countdown videos, because I actually really enjoy making them, and I think that I do them in a different enough way that warrants their existence. A lot of the videos which did really well and really helped out with the channel back in the sort of pre-Warlords of Draenor period were actually countdowns, and the way that I do countdowns is, I suppose, a little bit different from most. There's definitely a big stigma with anything that's in a list of 10 that it's just some BuzzFeed style thing, that's, oh, here's some clickbait. That's not what I do. I mean, generally I do a top 10 that lasts 25 plus minutes, because what I essentially do is write down an essay that's a good few pages long, and then I sort of reconstruct that into something that can be split into 10 points. And the reason why I do that's because I think it's nice making points. It's a good structure for a video. I think it's really easy for people to digest it, and it's just helps for getting information out there. So That's one thing that I plan on doing, and those top 10 videos, sometimes it might be on a wacky little thing. I've had some ideas, like, say, community references, pop culture things, but then also, you know, discussions, maybe sort of X ways we could improve garrisons, where I'll be proposing some ideas. That's all stuff that's in the rough plan and things that I have ideas for. Then, of course, discussion videos will also be a thing whenever there's a big new topic. I still want to do some sort of formal video on their whole currency thing. You know, with you being able to buy game time tokens and sell them for gold, all that stuff. And I still want to talk a little bit about the stats in Warlords of Draenor, you know, the pros and the cons of the randomization and all that. So that's sort of roughly what I'll be thinking of with discussion videos, but they're both formats that I will be keeping alive next year. And then also patch news is a thing. I suppose this roughly does fall under the umbrella of WoW news. But whenever a new patch comes out or there's a PTR, I'll be hopping on there and showing you all the new stuff. So really, similar to what I did during the beta and during patch 5.4, it's kind of odd to think about it. The last time that I did patch coverage for World of Warcraft, the channel had like 2,000 subscribers, so it's definitely been a while, but I'm really looking forward to there being things to talk about with World of Warcraft on a daily basis. I can't wait. I hope patch 6.1 and 6.2 are good. They're off to a great start with Warlords of Draenor, and I hope they're able to continue that. So really, in terms of videos, that's the main stuff that I want to do. I want to focus on news, I want to do weekly lore, I still want to do the countdown and discussion videos, and that should generally cover everything. Of course, Q&As will still be a thing, guides will still be a thing when, you know, there's obviously a thing to do a guide about. So that's essentially my plan going forward. And then, of course, the art revamp, if I am able to get good enough with After Effects to make something that's actually decent. Having a good overlay in, say, a news video is really important, and that's just the general sort of point that I'm going for there. Now, in terms of other things, I may do other Blizzard games, though the only issue is that on the channel, like, you know, I have the numbers, okay? Whenever I do a Hearthstone video or something else, not a lot of people are into that stuff. So it all depends on how those games go. Certainly for Overwatch, I do want to do some videos. I suppose Heroes of the Storm is coming out in January, but again, I know that there's not a lot of cross-pollination between the MOBA players and the WoW players, even though, like that said, Heroes of the Storm is pretty much the ideal MOBA to play if you're into Warcraft, because, yeah, you've got the Warcraft characters, but also from a mechanical level, it's not like Dota or something like that. It's a lot more, in my opinion, just meant to be a fun sort of brawlery style thing. So maybe other Blizzard games will be a thing, but obviously the main focus is going to be World of Warcraft. And then on the topic of other games, well, I do want to do first impressions of big new games when they come out, or maybe things similar to that. The Witcher 3 is coming out, there'll be new modules for Star Citizen, there's lots of games. I do play a lot of games, I don't just play World of Warcraft, because I think variation is a really good thing. So I'll probably do them from time to time. However, of course, main focus is going to be World of Warcraft. There's one game that specifically is worth mentioning, though, and that is Star Citizen. So whenever a new module for that comes out, I will probably make a video, and I know that there's not a lot of cross-pollination between Star Citizen and World of Warcraft, but I absolutely recommend that you check out Star Citizen. It's one of, like, its Arena Commander module, which is basically just the dogfighting from the game, is one of my it's like one of my favorite things of this year in terms of just raw fun to play. So whenever stuff for that comes out, I will certainly make videos. When the full persistent game comes out, when, you know, it's got the big persistent universe, I may make that a more regular thing. However, that's not until 2016, so not really worth talking about here. And I suppose I'll just cap off this section of the video by asking, what kind of stuff do you want to see? Probably would have been more effective to say this at the start of the video, but whatever, if you've made it this far, then you probably care, which means, I don't know, your feedback will be more awesomer, right? Yeah, so what kind of content do you enjoy the most is a rough question that I just want to throw out there, just because you guys have got a lot of ideas, and there's a lot of you, and there's only one of me, and, you know, more brains is better than one, and all that stuff. Anyway, that's really it for the video. Just wanted to share some rough thoughts with you guys, just so I can sort of bounce it off the general subscriber base and see what people are thinking. So have fun today, and don't get yourself killed. It's a really bad way to spend your Christmas. And hopefully I will see you all tomorrow for more videos. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for supporting me throughout this year. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video.